Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to talk about this crazy story that I just saw about a couple that is now on the run. They're on the run because they took a lot of COVID relief money, and we're going to talk about some of what happened with the COVID relief money, why you don't want to commit financial crimes, and my take on this whole situation. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black economics and Black wealth every day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day, under one condition. The condition is that you must be Black first. Black first means we put our community first. Be one also means that we understand we must be one to be successful. B1 also means that we will be number one when it comes to putting our kids ahead of the curve when it comes to economics and everything in between. So if you agree with that philosophy, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. Put the hashtag B and one in the chat. So I want to talk to you guys about this crazy story that I was just reading, and it struck a chord with me because I think that it gives us an opportunity to talk about all the financial things that were done wrong during the pandemic. And this story, Andrea and Black Raza and Takesha, it has to do with this couple. The couple's actually white. They're not even Black people, but I thought the story was really interesting because I think it kind of gives us a chance to really talk about how money's viewed in America, how financial crimes are viewed in America, and everything else. Now, this story involves a couple, and the couple's name is Richard Ayvazyan and his wife, Marietta Terabelian. So they don't sound American, but then again, I don't know what an American name sounds like. There's a lot of immigrants here. And apparently, they allegedly basically took a bunch of COVID relief money and ran off and literally abandoned their three kids. They had three teenage kids and they abandoned their kids because they have both been sentenced for these federal financial crimes. And I'm gonna read a little bit from CNN about this story, and then I'll kind of give you the Dr. Boyce breakdown on this. It says Richard and his wife Marietta, I told you guys know I can't pronounce their last names, were facing prison for their role in a massive COVID relief fraud scheme when they cut off their electronic tracking bracelets and fled their California home, abandoning their three teenage children. They left a typewritten note for their kids, ages 13, 15, and 16. "We will be together one day," it read, according to their attorney. "This is not a goodbye, but a brief break from one another." This was late August. Almost 3 months later and 5 months after their convictions in June, the couple has still not been found. The FBI is searching for them. That didn't stop a judge this week from sentencing the couple in absentia to 6 years in prison, to 17 and 6 years in prison, respectively. So I think the husband got 17 years, the wife got 6. Prosecutors said that they and others carried out a scheme to steal more than $20 million in relief funds intended for small businesses during the pandemic. Quote, "The defendants used the COVID-19 crisis to steal millions of dollars in much-needed government aid intended for people and businesses suffering from the economic effects of the worst pandemic in a century." So there we go. That's what happened with this couple. That's what they're in trouble for. It's bad, right? There's no defending, criminality. Don't do what they did. That's the given part. That's the obvious part. That's the part anybody could break down for you right now. But let me just give you a little bit of Dr. Boyce, Uncle Boyce perspective on some of this. First things first. First thing you should understand is that the worst crime in America to get in trouble for is a financial crime. With financial crimes, you get into things like wire fraud and these federal crimes. And then it goes federal and they have mandatory minimums and they send people to prison for a long time for things that involve the misappropriation of money. In some cases, it's a matter of somebody just doing one little thing and next thing you know, they got 20 years in prison. Happened a lot to a lot of Black people when it came to drugs. Like if you were transferring dope interstate and your grandma was making phone calls for you as the secretary, they're going to lock you and your grandma up on a RICO charge and charge you with all these federal crimes. Because we live in a country where money matters more than human life, right? You can get more time for a federal crime, a financial crime, than you would for an actual physical crime, harming somebody, beating somebody up, killing somebody, whatever. That's the first thing, right? Second thing that's interesting about this is that when I read about this couple, and how this couple took the COVID relief money. Let me read a little bit about what they did, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about just how much of a shit show the whole COVID situation was. During the pandemic, money was kind of flying everywhere because the Fed was basically under this belief that if you throw out a bunch of money out there, that it's going to make the economy better, which it didn't. It just created a bunch of inflation. And you're seeing inflation right now. Give me a yes or no if you've noticed in the news all the talk about inflation and how inflation is now the new bear that we've got to deal with in our economy. All right, so here's what they did. They said, according to court documents, they used fake or stolen identities, including the names of dead people and foreign exchange students who briefly visited the U.S. years ago, to submit fraudulent applications for approximately 150 federal pandemic relief loans for sham businesses in the San Fernando Valley. To support the fraudulent loan applications, they submitted fake identity documents along with falsified tax forms and payroll records to lenders and the SBA, Small Business Administration, federal prosecutors said. The couple, along with Ayvazyan's brother and 5 co-conspirators, used the money to buy mansions in 3 Southern California cities, Tarzana, Glendale, and Palm Desert, along with gold coins, diamonds, furniture, luxury watches, and a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, prosecutors said. When they were convicted, they had to forfeit 3 houses and the luxury items, along with bank accounts and approximately $450,000 in cash. When our nation was at its most vulnerable, these individuals thought only by lining their own pockets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so we can agree what they did was not legal, right? You shouldn't go fill out loan applications with the names of dead people, right? Obviously. Here's what I think is interesting, though. This particular situation reminds me of when you had that riot at the Capitol, right? When all those Trump supporting hillbillies decided to show up at the Capitol building and run up on the Capitol building, and crazy things happened because of that. I didn't see that whole incident the way a lot of people saw it. Somehow, like the media, they screw up everything. Like they're like, oh, this is a white supremacist riot. I didn't see anything white supremacist about it. It was a Trump supporter riot, but I didn't see them there to beat up black people. They were there to beat up their congressmen. That's very different from, how they might feel about black people. That's neither here nor there. But the other thing about that was really interesting, and tell me if you noticed, if you thought about any of this. I was sitting here thinking, wait a minute. Okay, so the United States has the most expensive military in the world, and the Pentagon's right down the street. And you got thousands of soldiers and aircraft and everything else and all kinds of crazy weapons that you can use to defend the most important buildings on American soil. Why couldn't you defend the Capitol building on that day? How did a bunch of, poorly armed rednecks with no coherent attack strategy get into the Capitol building, right? What do y'all think was going on with that? What do y'all think happened in that situation? What do you think? Do you think that they just, overpowered America's military and got into the building? What do y'all think? Give me like in a couple of words, like what your thoughts are on this. Yeah, because here's the thing. Okay, I see it. Yeah, they let it happen. There we go. There you go. I think they let it happen. I really think they basically, here's what I believe that they did. And again, people make fun of me because they think I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just a guy who thinks that the media is full of crap. They're not always full of crap, but I think they always have an agenda. I think that what they did was they put cookies they put a stack of cookies on a tray in the kitchen, and then they left the door wide open so that everybody would smell the cookies. And then they let them barge through the door to get the cookies. And then they said, you're a cookie thief. I think it was a type of entrapment. I think that it was all a setup. It was a setup. You can't tell me that we don't have the ability to defend the most important buildings on American soil. How in the hell did a bunch of toothless rednecks who are relatively unarmed bust into one of the most secure buildings on American soil? That don't make no damn sense. It ain't supposed to happen like that, but that's what occurred. That's what happened during that whole situation that allegedly occurred at the Capitol. So why do I bring that up? Why do I bring up that whole situation? Well, the reason I bring that up is because in this situation, you kind of have something similar where During the pandemic, you had in this mad rush to save the economy, what happened was it became basically a money grab. It became a wide open money grab where wealthy people were able to get richer and get more access to money because, as Rahm Emanuel, Obama's chief of staff, always said, he's former mayor of Chicago, he said, you never waste a good crisis. A good crisis is a good opportunity for you to get what you want, right? So effectively, what happened during the pandemic was that you had people in the Fed, in the Treasury. This is, pay attention now. They always play their games in the middle of chaos. Like it's like, if I really want to pickpocket you and I'm in a room full of people and I want to pick people's pockets, you know what I'm gonna do? I might shoot my gun in the air and I might turn my lights off and shoot the gun in the air, right? Like, so the lights are out, can't nobody see, the gun's shot in the air, everybody's panicking. That's when I'm strategically going and picking people's pockets, right? So effectively, during the pandemic, a lot of pockets got picked because everybody was too busy panicking. So with this whole situation, I'm not sitting here saying that what this couple did, I mean, what they did was terrible, right? They filled out these false loan applications. They abandoned their kids when so they wouldn't have to go to prison. All that's inappropriate. All of it is an absolute no-no. But how were they so easily allowed to do this? This happened to a lot of black people, by the way. There are NFL players and NBA players and former athletes who are trying to maintain a lifestyle that they couldn't afford anymore who filled out fake applications too. If you go to Google it right now, you'll find plenty of examples of some dude who was who's a broke rapper or a former NFL player who filled out a bunch of PPP loans and got $1 million. Next thing you know, he's driving a Bentley and got an extra piece of ice around his neck, just doing all that stupid stuff that people do with their money that they make you think is normal because you see it in a damn hip hop video. But anyway, so this was happening. So I'm not sitting here saying that it's okay, but what I'm saying is that sometimes it seems to me that what they'll do is they will lay the cookies on the table and leave the door open. And then when you say, oh, well, ain't nobody guarding these cookies, let me go ahead and grab a couple. I am kind of hungry. Then they catch you, arrest you, give you life in prison as a cookie thief. When really, maybe they could have saved you from yourself by making it harder for you to get into the house to take the cookies. It was not hard for people to come in and get PPP loans. They gave the impression that they weren't going to call any fouls on this. They gave the impression that they weren't going to press charges on anybody, right? They were like, hey, just fill out the application. Well, here's your money, right? And then what happens is, and this happened during the mortgage fraud situation or mortgage crisis, before that happened, if anybody was in the mortgage lending industry, you'll know around 2005, it was ridiculously easy to get a loan, like ridiculously easy. They were literally making it rain like Drake at a strip club. They were making it rain where you literally could go and fill out a loan application with the name of your dog with no income and get like a $300,000 loan. So it was a honey trap. Thank you, Mag. That's a great term. I like that. It was a honey trap. They pretty much got all these people filling out these loan applications. Then when the market crashes, they go back and they start going through all this paperwork with a fine-tooth comb. And they're like, wait a minute, you didn't fill this. This isn't you. This is your dog. Oh, you get 40 years in prison because you're a bad person. And I'm not trying to say it's okay. But what it is that sometimes they will give you the impression that the regulatory environment is different from what it actually is, or they will go back retroactively and shift the regulatory environment and suddenly scrutinize your behavior in a way that they did not scrutinize it before. They do the same thing in the crypto market too. And some of y'all, I don't know if any of y'all invested in things like XRP. Well, XRP, to me, XRP is like a black man. They're the black man of the crypto world because XRP has been falsely accused of violating rules and laws, which caused all the XRP that you might have bought to be locked up. You can't trade your XRP now on Coinbase or any app that you're on because XRP got sort of locked away and taken off the exchanges because they suddenly accused them of violating federal law. Well, XRP came back and made a very valid argument. XRP's like, look, wait a minute, hold up. You've never enforced this rule before. 5 years ago, we were trying to find out what the rules were, and you didn't have nothing to say. You gave us the impression that everything was good, and you let us move forward and operate in this capacity. Now you come back, and you're suddenly changing the rules. And I kind of think in the pandemic, it was kind of like that too. First of all, the government should not have been giving away that PPP money as easily as they did. Hey, when they created so much inequality during the pandemic, it was ridiculous. They created this impossible environment where people who did not have the ability to get on the internet and make money on the internet were frozen out. That's why during the pandemic, you had more drug overdoses than you've ever had in the history of this country. You have so many people that were depressed, so many people that were just left behind, so many people that got financially screwed, while there were people who became richer than their wildest imagination. Remember, Elon Musk was worth about 80 billion before the pandemic. He's worth over 300 billion right now. Right. So effectively, the way they even handled it was a complete shit show. It was absolutely embarrassing. They were literally passing out that PPP money like it was nothing. Anybody who had their paperwork in line, they could just fill out the application, was getting that money. The money was typically going to the big businesses and the corporations that had all the paperwork in order. The small businesses that really needed that money couldn't get it because they didn't even know how to apply for it. They didn't have their accounting book straight to where they could get access to it. So effectively, it created this really ridiculous, impossible environment. Now, with that said, of course, when I'm talking about the couple I was talking about before, that what they did in terms of stealing the money and abandoning their kids and all that, I'm not sitting here sympathizing with them at all. I'm just saying that if you tightened up the process a little bit and made it a little bit tougher for people to get the money in the first place, maybe they wouldn't have had the impression that they could just go and put anything on an application and get the money. It doesn't make it okay. But I think to some extent, maybe you should lock the door when you got the cookie sitting on the table, so people don't get the impression that the cookies are free, right? So that's that was what crossed my brain when I saw this, and I thought it was kind of a mess, and I've seen a lot of Black people get caught up in that, and I just want to encourage you, be extremely careful out here when you're dealing with that man's money, because they will come back and they will hang your Black ass in a second. The stuff that seems like easy money or free money ain't always free, and they'll come back and they'll change the rules on you just like that. So just be extremely careful when you're out here doing your thing. And so anyway, by the way, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Some of you are asking about the All Black National Convention. Well, we have something called allblackdigital.com, which is a platform, which is kind of the online home of the All Black National Convention. It's where we share ideas, and we did a mastermind tonight. We're going to do this pretty regularly within All Black Digital, and also you have access to everything from the convention in terms of recordings and stuff like that, but you also have access to a lot of other content, the movies we've made, stuff like that. So feel free to take a look at allblackdigital.com. That platform is set up, and it's yours for if you'd like to take a look at it. You can do a free trial. All right, guys, I'm about to get out of here. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I'm out of here. Have a good night, and I'll check in with you guys again soon. God bless you. Love you. Peace.